Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Thursday, November 30th, 2017. Yesterday covered the Matt Lauer resignation story, covered a number of these sexual misconduct stories, and I've been explaining now, in the months that they've been going on, this is all part of a calculated agenda by the media to program the minds of the masses for what's coming in this nation. And that is less men in positions of power, from politics to CEOs to film producers, and more women, probably also more homosexuals and transgenders, just like how we saw the first tranny congressperson elected out of Virginia this last election cycle, a man who's become a woman. And this is all part of a bigger agenda of essentially feminizing the male energy in this nation, which is well underway. The skinny jeans are a part of it. The entertainment's a part of it. There's a reason that you turn on the television and there's more and more homosexual men on the screen. You don't see a lot of real masculine personalities anywhere in media anymore. You know? Feminism is being pushed on the male population. And why is this? It's the same reason that they're building a police state. It's the same reason that they're building a surveillance state. The New World Order tyrants want control, and they're working at every angle to maintain their control. You know, male energy is a threat to them. You know, men are supposed to find their balls and fight back and defeat these tyrants. You make a bunch of feminized men, that's going to be even less likely to happen. It's already not happening, and, you know, now the men are being made into something a lot less masculine. And all of this, you know, is all part of one seamless agenda. And I'm not sure how many people can see it. But anyway, to prove that all of these stories roll out in agenda format, you have to know what goes on in your daily media. Every single day, your news is contrived by a code that comes from Kabbalah. If you never heard of Kabbalah before, it's because it's mostly knowledge just for elites. Kabbalah, the belief that God created the world by merging the letter with the number. And every single day, this code of letters and numbers and dates on the calendar is used to contrive propaganda. And like I said, who's it going to be tomorrow? That's what I said yesterday with Matt Lauer. Well, now we know it's Russell Simmons. And I also talked about John Conyers yesterday, the man who's approaching 90 years old, who all of a sudden has sexual allegation charges against him. Now Nancy Pelosi asking for him to resign today. You know, the thing about John Conyers is he's an old man, but if there's any Congress people who are on the side of the people, you know, John Conyers is one of them. He's one of the only people that spoke out against the Patriot Act after 9/11. And he explained that this was a bunch of legislation that could never pass before 9/11 because it was such a breach on our liberties. I don't actually remember any other congressperson speaking out against it besides, oh, you know who else did? Paul Wellstone, whose plane crashed. Those are the only two people I can remember back then. I was 18 years old. I was looking for answers back then. John Conyers, that's when I found him, right after September 11th. And Paul Wellstone, who died soon after. And for him to be shamed at almost age 90, you know, this stuff's just gross. I mean, and it's not him that's gross for the sexual allegation, it's just the way this agenda's being done. And notice he's a black man, just like Russell Simmons. These are the first two black names I've seen since Nellie. Nellie's the only person to be arrested in all of these headlines. You know, out of all the white and Jewish people that have been named, and all other races, just everyone that's been named, the only arrest has been made has been a black man, Nellie, at age 42. But anyway, let's talk about why Russell Simmons is up today. Why is Russell Simmons up today? It's because it's all by the code. So here's how they do it. Russell Simmons turned 60 this year. We're going to get to 60 on October 4th, 1957. And that makes today his 58th day of being 60 years old. And remember, yesterday the number was 57 for Matt Lauer. Yesterday had 57 numerology. Well, today has 58 numerology. It's Russell Simmons' 58th day of being his age. This is a big number of Freemasonry. Freemasonry equals 58. Secret Society, 58. Solomon's Temple, 58. United States, 58. Washington, 58. We the People, 58. And a million more things. You know, Donald Trump just won the 58th U.S. presidential selection, and for it, he hired the 58-year-old Steve Ray. Let's not forget he announced he was running for president from the 58-story Trump Tower. Special number here. Russell Wendell Simmons. Russell Simmons' full name equals 85, the reflection of 58. Not coincidentally. Understand, Russell Simmons is part of this Masonic network, always has been. That's why he's the face of Def Jam. Freemasonry runs the show in this world. And everything done by Freemasonry is by this code. Freemasonry is based in Kabbalah. Freemasonry controls your media. They control your government. That's why Freemasonry's headquarters is in Washington, D.C. Everything done is by this code. That's why Def Jam releases all of their records by the numbers. So this is just another ritual by the numbers. Russell Simmons is a very wealthy man worth hundreds of millions of dollars. This is his retirement, but he's going out in a shaming ritual, which isn't uncommon for this gang, because he's participating in their agenda. You see, this is how he has to go out. This is the cost of being the boss. You know? So the woman accuser, her name is Jenny Lumet, and supposedly this happened in 1991. And what Russell Simmons said is, yeah, I had a sexual relationship with her in 91, and she remembers things differently than I do. That's how it always is with these sexual allegation stories. It's always from decades ago. You know? If you murder somebody decades ago, I'd say that doesn't expire. If you rape somebody, that doesn't expire, but her story isn't that she raped him. Her story is that she forced him into sex. I mean, she didn't use the word rape. You know, that's the thing about sex. So many people drink and end up having sex, and then they're not exactly sure what happened, and they can't remember it, and then they have regrets, and anyway, these stories, they all seem to fall somewhere in that type of narrative. I mean, he's made his hundreds of millions of dollars since 1991 up to the present. You know, it's... Just understand, they give you these stories this way for a reason, you know? It's easy to not ever be able to get to the truth of the matter. But understand, at the same time, all of this stuff is contrived narrative by the numbers. It's very possible these people never even had sex, they never even had a relationship, they're just the two people that got pulled up being part of this Masonic network. You know, for the women, they have Order of the Eastern Star, which I'm sure Jenny Lumet's a part of. But here's the reason. Jenny Lumet, 139. Look at the gematria of Freemasonry. 58, 139. Big numbers here for Freemasonry. Big numbers for Freemasonry. And Russell Simmons is currently 60 years old. You see what this number is assigned to? All of these numbers come up in Black history in a big way. Most of you probably know a lot about 42. The Civil War began on the 102nd day of the year, on April 12th. Remember the story of Freddie Gray? He was arrested April 12th. He died April 19th. The name Freddie Gray equals 102. The Civil War began on April 12th. The first casualty was April 19th. Freddie Gray arrested April 12th, dead April 19th. The first casualty was in Baltimore, where Freddie Gray died. If you look up the history of the Civil War, the first deaths came April 19th, when protesters got into an armed conflict with gray coats. Freddie Gray, made up news, ritualistic, history repeating itself. Also interesting, Def Jam established in 84, that special year, Masonry equals 84, United States of America 84. That makes it 33 years old this year. Def Jam also has that gematria 33. As well as 39, New York equals 33 and 39, Def Jam in New York. I saw that the allegation was made November 19th. He's resigning 11 days later. November 19th is when this story broke by the Los Angeles Times. That was a date with numerology of 47. It was also his 47th day of being 60 years old. Remember, on the Freemason compass, 47 degrees. So, there it is. Another Masonic ritual, more Masonic programming, and all for the sake of agenda. We'll see if John Conyers has to resign. And here, let me just pull up John Conyers' little bio blurb real quick so we can see how old he is. Hospitalized. John Conyers hospitalized too. Wow. Is he going to die as well? But here he is. He's 88 years old. Remember, this whole narrative began with Donald Trump a year ago. And that's the big Trump number, 88. Trump equals 88. Remember when he got endorsed by 88 generals? Donald Trump, 33 days, a span of 33 days before the rigged election, the story came out about him and Billy Bush on the bus. Donald Trump can grab any woman's pussy because he's a celebrity. He can just do whatever he wants to him. He likes to take them to the furniture store. Guy's just a piece of work. But anyway, I said this is all part of an agenda, you know? This is all about installing the first female president, more women in leadership positions. And I talked more about that yesterday, but I don't want to repeat myself too much. So John Conyers, one of the only people to call out the Patriot Act for what it was, now being shamed at 88 years old. And Nancy Pelosi, who's just a disgusting human being. You know, here's somebody who signs off on every Patriot Act type legislation. Here's someone that doesn't care about your liberties at all. Here's someone that's raping America. She wants to shame 88-year-old John Conyers. And understand, that's the other thing. This is all distraction from everything that's really wrong in this world. That's what news always is. Distraction from the real things that matter. Like the building police state, like the loss of liberties, like the militarizing of police, like the needless wars that are being started, the young troops being sent off to all sorts of corners of the world to fight corporate wars, you know, secure oil fields, build pipelines. And here comes this Republican tax plan. Have you guys seen this one? Pretty much gets rid of every tax credit that just common folk use, you know, save you $50 here, $100 there. You know, they're just wiping out all that for the millions of people that benefit from those small things and then giving massive tax cuts to the rich. This is where I want to close. To vote for either party, here's the power of this knowledge, you guys. You guys got to know what's going on. DC equals 47, right? This is the 47 degrees on the Freemason compass. Government 47, authority 47, White House 47, President 47. You know, Trump, I'll show you again, Trump equals 47. He was in the 47-story Midtown Hilton Hotel the night of the rigged selection. But look, Democrat 47. Trump was a Democrat until Obama became president. Then he switched to the Republican Party. Look at Republican 47. And what did the Republican Party used to be? It used to be the Whig Party 47. Not coincidental. It's because Freemasonry has always controlled the show. And what's up with 47? Two things. The Freemasons have the 47th problem of Euclid about how to establish a square foundation. You see that? Foundation 47. Framework is also 47. The Freemasons, once upon a time, were builders. You know, they used to build the religious, spiritual structures of this world. Not so much anymore. Now it's more group of intellectuals, tyrants in high places. But the other thing about 47 is time. You know, the tropics of this earth are 47 degrees apart that measure the solstices. The Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. They're 47 degrees apart. That's how you measure the solstices, which measure the seasons. So the number's not arbitrary, but understand, these two parties are different sides of essentially the same coin. That said, And in a way, this argument is kind of, it's not that important because it's all a puppet show and it's all for agenda. But just to vote for the Republican Party, even though we're understanding that they're pretty much one and the same thing, to vote for the Republican Party just shows that you are a fucking moron. And the reason why is because Republicans do the exact same thing every single time without exception. And it seems that somehow the Republicans, the people who call themselves Republicans, just don't catch on. And I don't know how this is. Republicans always get rid of the tax breaks for people of middle and lower class. Every single time they're in power, they do this. They get rid of tax breaks for people who don't have that much money, and they move them all to the rich, the people who are already multimillionaires. Every single time. It's clockwork. And I explained this to people before Trump was even in office when he revealed his tax plan. Do you guys know what day Trump revealed his tax plan? It was on August 8th. I'll never forget it. Tax plan 88, Trump 88. The Republican Party 88. You know, the Trump's Republican tax plan on August 8th. And there was nothing to it. Remember, that was the news story. He revealed his tax plan and there was nothing about it. I mean, it was just like this hollow shell of nothing. And I was thinking, who's going to support this guy? He says he's unleashing his tax plan and there's no information. But I put out a video that day and I said, I can already tell you what the Republican tax plan is going to be. It's going to be fucking over the middle class and poor people and more cuts for the super rich, because that's all the Republican Party does. And I wish my channel was still up, because that's exactly what I said that day. I said, I don't need to see their tax plan. I already know what their tax plan is. And I said, think about it. This is a real asshole right here, Donald Trump, born with a silver spoon in his mouth, who his whole life has had failed business ventures and has used, bankruptcy, which takes taxpayer money, which is mostly paid by the poor and middle class, takes their money to solve his financial problems that he created. This is Donald Trump's legacy. Failed businesses, bankruptcy, Mr. Bankruptcy. So this is somebody who's been rich and exploited the poor his whole life. I said, what do you think his tax plan is going to look like? I said, it'll probably be the worst one yet. And this is the worst Republican tax plan yet. It fucks over the poor and middle class more than any other and gives, the biggest breaks ever to the rich. And none of that was hard to see. I mean, if you have a brain, it should have been obvious that that's what was going to come out of Donald Trump's tax plan. So what people need to stop doing is voting. We need to get informed, and we need to end the federal government. That's what needs to end. There needs to be no more IRS, no more federal government. We don't need these people. The purpose of their existence is to steal from us, to control us, and nothing else. We already have state government. If we get rid of the federal government, it's not that we don't have any government anymore. Now we just have state government. We got 50 state governments. And that's fine. There's no need for this federal government. Federal government just fucks everyone over. Federal government fucks over state governments. And imagine if we had 50 state governments, that means we'd be more localized. That means we could take care of more immediate problems, because our local governments are fucked up too. But if we don't have federal government super fucking us over the top of state government, then we can hold our state government accountable. You see? This is what needs to happen. Here's the order of operations for me right now in this world. My book's about to release. That gets out and spreads the knowledge, then we'll have more people awake, more people hopefully willing to fight back. I emphasize that message all throughout the book, that we need to fight back now. Now's the time to fight back before the police state gets any worse, before anything else gets any worse, before we're all just straight up slaves in shackles, because that's the direction of things. So the book's coming out. Then the next thing is we need to take over this media. We need to shut it down. We need to shut down the bullshit media. All these cable news outlets are bullshit. They create all their propaganda every day like this. We don't need contrived propaganda to control our minds. We shut all this shit down. Then we establish our own media. Things like Truth Frequency Radio. But we got to be better than Truth Frequency Radio. Truth Frequency Radio is invested in bullshit too. That's why it has programs that talk about the flat earth theory. We're not going to do that. We're not going to make ourselves look like fucking retards. But we need to shut down the bullshit media, establish real information outlets that empowers people. Imagine if you turned on the news and over a 24-hour cycle, there's programs that are teaching you how to start local agriculture, grow your own organic food. You know, something that's helping you out with real financial information so that you can save money and get ahead. You know, just empowering information throughout the day. And then just whatever actual news you need to know about. I mean, if there's something important in the world going on, you're getting that. But most of this information would just be about knowledge and empowering. That's the kind of information we need. We don't have that. We have information from tyrants that's meant to control us and steer us for their planned agenda of ruling over us. You know? So, plan. End media, wake up people, shut down the federal government. Something that could really be done overnight. You get 100,000 people who show up in Washington, D.C. ready to shut shit down. That city can be over tomorrow. Tomorrow. And that's what we need to do. You know? And all these bullshit news stations, they need to be nothing but static when you go there. You know? You think you need this fucking guy as your leader? You think you need any of these fraud presidents? Remember Barack Obama? Any of you who thought he was good, it's because your head was up your ass. You know what he did on the campaign trail? I talked about it on my radio show. I want to remind you again. All of these leaders are fucking stooges. They're all plants, and they're all here to fuck us over. I told everybody in 2008, before Obama was the president, that he was a lock to be put in, and it was all about killing hope. And then that's why they gave us this guy at the end of his term. You know? Obama in 2008 proved to everybody that he was nothing more than a mouthpiece full of shit. In 2008, there was a big vote in Congress for immunity for the telecommunication companies that had been collecting everyone's data and information illegally. Obama on the campaign trail was saying the right thing. He was saying that they violated our constitutional rights. They need to be held accountable. They cannot have immunity. That's what he was saying. And I already knew he was a fraud, and I was surprised that he was saying this, and I was saying, well, at least he's right on this. But then, when it came time to vote, after 2 months of Obama campaigning that they could not get immunity because it was a violation of our constitutional rights, how did old Obama vote? He voted for immunity. And I said, there you go. I said, you don't need to know anything else about this guy. This guy's a fucking fraud. For 2 months to say what he said and then vote the opposite way, there's nothing else you need to know about this piece of shit. You know? And then think about who was the president before that. The guy who... The son of a former president who was fucking retarded. And then Bill Clinton, we all saw what he was, especially after 9/11. Because after 9/11, Bill Clinton became the biggest mouthpiece talking down people looking for 9/11 truth. You know? These conspiracy theorists out here, I mean, shut the fuck up. All these people are frauds. Remember the 93 World Trade Center bombing happened right after he took office. But all this shit just needs to end. You know? The problem is the manpower of this nation. Too feminized and too complacent. They're all satisfied being working class slaves, eating their microwave dinners, watching their rigged ball games. You know? That needs to change. That's why those of us who are awake, we need to do things to force change. This world needs to be changed, and people need to be forced into making change. That's where the force needs to come. People do need to be forced out of their complacency. Have you seen the movie They Live? He tears down the news network at the end, and it breaks everybody out of their coma. Once the television goes out, then people snap out of it. It's like people need to come home and their TV doesn't work anymore. Can't watch the rigged ball game anymore. Sorry, you got to find something else to do. There's no more rigged ball games on. No? It's like we got to blow up all these sports stadiums so they can't play their games anymore. Set them all on fire. Something has to be done. People need to realize it's been bullshit, wasting their life. Sad thing is, even if most men found out the games were rigged, I already know how they'd be. They'd be like, well, I still like watching the game. I'm okay just watching the game and paying my taxes. I don't care if I live in a military police state. You know? Something needs to be done about these people. You know? Only takes 100,000 people who are awake. And I know I used to have that many followers before Google deleted all my channels. So that's enough. If we can find 100,000 people with balls, we can get done what needs to be done in an evening. And also, check out Awake Time with Jerry. He's over on the East Coast, December 14th. He's trying to get a lot of people to meet in Newtown, Connecticut to expose the Sandy Hook false flag, which is all about stealing your rights, building the police state. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be there because I'm in the process of selling my house. The person I'm selling it to has given me a long list of things to do. I've been working on the repairs. I have to have everything done by December 15th. So, unfortunately, that's the day after his planned rally. But Awake Time with Jerry. If you're on the East Coast and you can get to Newtown, Connecticut by December 14th, that could be a powerful thing. So, we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Till next time.